you elaborate a little bit on that?
Early in my career, I was very zeroed. I was wide and wide. I was wide in the backswing, wide in the through swing. So it was actually hard for me to take a divot when I was hitting it really well, just because I was zeroed. And at that time, early 2000s, mid 2000s, even in the late 90s, my natural shot was a draw. So obviously, with the draw, you're not going to be, swinging that left. You're not going to be that steep. So yes, I didn't take a lot of divots. I would stand there and hit golf balls all for an entire day, and you could really see, you really couldn't see where I was hitting golf balls at, especially with long irons, anything up, just because I was hitting draws. And it would have been totally different. I was hitting punch cuts, then you're going to see divots. But my natural shot was a draw.
So, how can Tiger Woods go ahead and say that he hit his best shots with his irons without taking a divot? Today, we're going to discuss width, dynamic loft, and attack angle. So first, width. So when we first set up to the ball, the distance from the ball with our arm to the club to the ball is basically the radius that we set up at setup. So from here, when it comes to width, all I'm doing is maintaining that same radius the entire time. So as I swing back, I will be maintaining my radius still. Come down, I would still be maintaining the radius. And coming through, still maintaining that same radius. So when Tiger said wide to wide, he meant just maintaining his radius. So if he set up here, he would still be maintaining his radius here. And even on the way down in transition, still maintaining that same radius. Now, when we swing wide like that, what that does is influences our attack angle. Attack angle is basically the angle in which the club is coming to the ball at impact. So say if I'm going to land a plane, say if my golf club is a plane, right? So if I'm doing wide to wide, my attack angle will be a lot more shallower coming down versus if I was more narrow. If I was more narrow, I would be landing it a lot steeper. So just like relating it to a plane, when we take flights and we land, there has to be a certain angle that they land for us to be optimal to not crash. So basically, when we land the club and we have width, we're able to land the club safe per se, where you can come down here, be a lot shallower, and be able to rotate into the ball. Lastly is dynamic loft. So width enables us to turn. So if you look here, if I'm super wide here, let's go back here a little bit. If I'm super wide here, in order to get to the club, I have to turn, right? Then, if I get here with my left arm, with more width, so let's shift over this way. In order to get to it, I have to turn some more. And what turn guarantees is the ability to keep the same loft or decrease the loft. Because what influences how much loft we can have is shaft lean. Shaft lean is controlled by how much our body can turn. So as soon as I stop rotating, then all of a sudden I start releasing the club earlier. Versus if I'm able to keep width and I'm turning, now we have that dynamic loft. And Tiger also said, when it comes to him being wide to wide, that he was hitting draws. Why was he hitting draws? So if we set up here, and I feel wide to wide, so I go wide here, I'm wide on the way down. If we look at these three sticks, when I come into the ball, my path is coming from inside out. Versus, if I were to go to the top and then get narrow on the way down, so here I'm not maintaining my radius, then all of a sudden now the path is going more left, more out to in. So that is how Tiger is able to hit his best shots with his irons without taking a divot.